Get in the know. Non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Well, there's some plays where I think he doesn't give himself enough credit of his ability to extend. I think back to that, red zone scramble for a touchdown against the Cardinals last year on a critical third down, or even keeping drives alive, stealing a first down. When I call a bad play and he's got nobody there to convert, and he finds a way to extend a play and maybe use his legs to either get that first down or extend a play and make a play off schedule with his arm.
KOC on Pro Football Talk Live with Mike Florio. Has Mike Florio graduated to the number one Kirk hater spot in the power rankings? If we did a power rankings of the biggest Kirk Cousins haters,
yep,
would he be number one?
He'd be close. And plus, what's impressive is it's purely, I think, as a fan. So, like, if he didn't love the Vikings,
yeah,
I think he might be critical, but he hates him because he does not. He hates him as a Vikings fan.
Yeah, it's like
to another level.
It's like an abusive relationship for him. Well, for a lot of people that also consume this show too.
Yeah, Mackie.
60 plus years. So also I think, was it, what else? Was KOC on something? Is he making the media rounds? Did I see something? I feel like Declan put out something in our text thread yesterday from KOC or Florio. We've been angling, by the way. We got KOC on a year ago. And it'd be great to get him on this summer at some point. So we don't do a lot of guests on this show, but I think KOC would qualify.
Wheels are in motion. That's all I can say.
Okay. Your people talking to his people?
Hot route.
I got a lot of people. That's all I got to say about that. I got a lot of people.
And we do too, and we're grateful for all of you Purple Daily faithful here. Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment, even through the dead of the offseason. In fact, we've got some fun Feedback Friday questions. We're going to do Feedback Friday on a Thursday tomorrow because we're going to do sort of a day after schedule release breakdown on Friday. And a bunch of people chiming in yesterday. Boy, you guys are already out of materials doing a mock schedule. But then I would say 90% of you totally got it, thought it was hilarious, and bowed down to Judd's work ethic for spending 3 days doing a mock schedule.
And by the way, I came mildly close. Christmas Day, it's out there now. The second game of the triple header on Christmas Day at Philadelphia, but it's the Giants.
Yeah, you got 50% of that.
But it's Philadelphia. I did get that one right. There was nobody saying it was going to be them. I don't think so.
I think if this was like the mock draft, you enter your mock draft, I think you get like a half point for this because you nailed one of the teams on Christmas.
And I nailed
you might have nailed the Vikings on Christmas. We don't know yet.
And I nailed the time slot for the Eagles to play host to that game too. So I think I'd get a pretty good
three-quarters credit. You nailed the team.
Way to go, Judd.
A team, a time slot, a day, and the home field. Right? Well, we already knew that.
We sort of knew that one, so I'm not going to take credit for that part.
So anyhow, TCL, thanks for sending in pictures of your new TCL TVs. We've seen a few of those this week. TCL has award-winning TVs for any budget, any space, all with stunning picture quality. TCL makes more than just TVs. They offer mobile products, audio devices, home appliances. TCL brings you joy and simplicity through innovative technology. Learn more at TCL.com. So we're going to hit you with 2 episodes of Purple Daily today. One is the prediction, write that down episode. This is an episode reacting to our friend Tom Pelissero's report on the Pat McAfee show. I think Ian Rappaport, his colleague, was filling in yesterday. McAfee on paternity leave. Let's roll the clip here. This is Tom Pelissero with some juicy Viking steam.
Will Levis was sitting there when the Vikings pick came up at number 23 and they didn't take him. They were making calls about moving up very high in the draft. But my understanding is that was for one player, and that was Bryce Young, who ended up going number 1. And so there went any possibility for Minnesota to go get him. They knew he wasn't going to be a Minnesota Viking. And then so, the focus really turned toward getting another weapon for the offense in the draft, whether that be a wide receiver or a running back. They end up with Jordan Addison, who should be a really good fit. They think he's an elite type of route runner, can be a really good complement to Justin Jefferson there.
What do you make of that? Huh? We had heard some rumblings behind the scenes that the Vikings were doing their due diligence at minimum to see what it would take to get up into the top 3. And Pelissero, and we didn't really know, like, is it one quarterback? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it Anthony Richardson?
Right.
And he confirms that they absolutely were doing homework on getting up into the top 2 or 3, but only if Bryce Young were to have fallen. So what do you make of that one?
Well, I think there's a lot of directions to go because this is intriguing. I had not heard. So we heard, all three of us heard Richardson initially was their guy late in the process, and that they had possibly tried to get up to the Cardinals pick at 3 to get him. They came up short there. The fact that they thought, so they must have thought Bryce Young was going to fall, because clearly they were not going to get, I don't think, Carolina's pick at 1, which had transferred from Chicago. I make a couple things of this. So the first thing is, just as an aside, I don't think that Kevin O'Connell is hung up on the actual stature, the physical stature, the height of the quarterback, because Bryce Young's a smaller guy. So like, this is intriguing. I think O'Connell is very much looking for what he wants in a skill set. But I think, and the interesting thing is this, you guys, Kevin O'Connell, and look, he wasn't great, okay? But he's still, a third-round pick in 2008 of the Patriots? Kevin O'Connell was a tall quarterback. So this says to me that Kevin O'Connell says, height is great, but height is not the be-all, end-all, because Bryce Young certainly has an opportunity to prove that. So that's my first thing, just complete aside out of left field a little bit. The second thing is, there is no question that with all of the steam that we heard and that now Tom brings to the table for the first time, I think, linking the Vikings potentially to Bryce Young, there is no question that they had a certain, and look, they weren't going to go crazy, clearly, but that the plan is to bring in a quarterback, and a good one, and a potential starter, not a guy that's going to sit behind Kirk, not a guy that's going to sit like Jordan Love has. Like, there is no doubt that this team is actively looking to get cheaper, but still have a really good QB, because there are plans. I'll tease this because it's just becoming clear. I haven't heard.
Are you going to report something right now?
Clear. No, I am connecting the dots here.
Windows or windy fingers?
Yes, it is clear. It is interesting. I find it. Why does it look like the Vikings are doing so much work? And it's a rhetorical question on 2024. Like, think about this. Like, they are,
because they don't have a quarterback under contract other than Jaron Hall.
Right. But I mean, the easy thing would have been to go back to Kirk, right? And extend Kirk for a couple more years. They're not doing that. Like, there are more things at work, I think, behind the scenes. And I don't know if they've identified the 2024 free agent class or what. But the more that you put the pieces of this puzzle together, it really looks like this roster is going to look significantly different. Not in 23, it's different, not significantly, in 2024, and that this quarterback chip is clearly a key part of that.
I have a couple takeaways too. I'm curious to hear, Declan, when you saw that Pelissero report that and by the way, Judd, you said they weren't going to go crazy. Well, they were. They were willing to go crazy for Bryce Young, but you're saying they weren't willing to go crazy for just any quarterback.
Correct.
They had one identified, but they were willing to go absolutely crazy if it meant getting up into the top 3. But what did you make of that, Dex?
So, I mean, everyone kind of knew Bryce Young was going to be number 1 overall. So if it was just Bryce Young, I think it was kind of foolish to assume that, if he falls, like, we'll go up and get him. Like, everyone knew he was going 1 overall, at least by the time the last few days of the draft going up. So if their smokescreen was, hey, we're actually, we're telling everyone that it's Hendon Hooker, so people don't think we're actually, we're maybe looking at Anthony Richardson. Okay, because they're now putting the smoke screen out that they don't really want Hendon Hooker. They want Anthony Richardson. I think that they clearly wanted to go get a quarterback, but they probably got a little scared at the ammunition, weren't in love with the other ones that weren't named Bryce Young, and therefore felt it was better for them to just stay at 23, get a wide receiver, get the right player for them at that pick, instead of mortgaging assets for someone they probably obviously were not in love with.
See, I think there was a time where C.J. Stroud was being projected maybe as the number 1 pick, and because remember, like a month or 2 before the draft, especially around the combine, Bryce Young's size was really in question. It was, oh my God, he showed up and he's barely 6 feet tall, and his listed weight was like 190 or 195 at the combine, but there was some speculation that he bulked up to get to that weight so that he could have better measurables at the combine. Mm-hmm. So I wonder, like when Pelissero reports this, he could be talking about any different point between the combine and the draft. That, hey, well, there was a time when maybe Stroud was going to go number one, or Levis, or Richardson, and there was some steam behind the scenes that Bryce Young was going to fall. So I think just kind of piecing it together, because Declan's right. By the end, it's absurd to think that you're going to trade up for Bryce Young. Like in the last week leading up, I mean, all the Vegas, all the markets were saying, yeah, it's Bryce Young, it's Bryce Young. So I think some of the speculation goes further back. But my main takeaway here is, if there's any doubt about this front office's willingness or want to go crazy and trade multiple first-round picks for a quarterback they think is the successor, this report answers that question. Mm-hmm. And maybe Caleb Williams and Drake May in 2024, if they were willing to do it for Bryce Young, a lot of people smarter than me who evaluate draft prospects say that Caleb Williams and Drake May are better prospects than Bryce Young is. So maybe this was the Vikings sort of test run. Someone sent a Feedback Friday question about this last week, that maybe they were using this as a little bit of a test run, go through your quarterback evaluation process, start to have some conversations with teams about what it would take to go from like the 20th pick up into the top 3. But if you're planning on doing this again next year, you have to hope and pray that the 2 worst teams in the NFL are not quarterback needy teams. You really need them to be teams that are bad but already have a quarterback in place. And maybe it's the Panthers again or something. Like you're rooting for the Panthers to win 3 games with Bryce Young. Maybe Bryce Young gets hurt or something, not terribly. Because if the first 2 teams in the draft, much like this year, are quarterback needy and they want Caleb Williams and Drake May, you're not going. There's no amount of first-round picks that you're going to be able to offer, I think, that would get you up into one of those 2 spots. But their willingness to do it is very interesting.
Yeah, and plus that, if you do get a team that doesn't need a quarterback at 1 or 2, you're now going to be competing against the teams like Tampa that potentially aren't 1 or 2. So, but when I say that they weren't willing to go crazy, one of 2 things took place. One is with the 23rd pick, they just simply couldn't put together a package that met what the teams were asking for, i.e. like the Cardinals, or it became a price point that became too much. And so like, that's my question is, what's the price point and what are they willing to do? The other thing is, as far as the 2024 quarterback class goes, I'd be curious what the reality of the scouting is on that. I mean, we at this point in time often talk about who we perceive or who are projected by the experts to be the top quarterbacks, but are they the top ones? Are they the top ones and they're going to be joined by a 3rd or 4th guy? There's so much time between now and then, and it certainly has happened where guys have emerged. So, but this is just such an interesting to me time period to follow and be a Vikings fan. Mm-hmm. Because you don't know what they're going to do. But if you start to sort of follow the path now, it becomes very clear that they are trying to make a splash move. And I guess the question is this: if you're going to draft a quarterback, so like if that is the goal, which again in the first round gets you 5 years of team control at a very reasonable price, where's the other money going? Like, it's going to Jefferson, I get that. It's going to Hawkinson to a certain degree, but he's not really going to truly break the bank. Justin probably will. But where are the other expenditures? What are you going to beef up? Like, there is just so obviously a plan here in place. And, like, we can deduct it, but we still don't know that if that plan includes a cheap quarterback, now you have freed up cap space that's going to go somewhere else. And besides Jefferson, my question is, what's that plan?
Just real quick on Hawkinson. So I think he's going to break the bank from a tight end perspective. But the beauty of where tight end salaries are slotted, it sounds crazy to say this because Travis Kelce is doing fine financially, but Travis Kelce makes peanuts compared to top wide receivers, right. And he's one of the best pass catchers in the league. But for some reason, the tight end market has sort of settled in around $15 million, $15 million a year for the top guys, whereas the top wide receivers is more like $30 million. Is Tyreek Hill worth double what Travis Kelce is to his team? The Chiefs said no. Mm-hmm. But the Chiefs decided, actually, we think Kelsey at $15 million, even though he's older, is a much better value than Tyreek Hill at 30. But the Chiefs did have to say goodbye. Like, they couldn't keep both. So it'll be interesting. The Vikings, it looks like they're going to go forward with contract extensions. And I think Hawkinson's probably going to be close to setting a new market because he's the newest guy and he's 26 years old. But setting a new market's going to be like $15 to $17 million at that position. Justin Jefferson setting a new market's going to be like $30 to $35 million. Can they afford to keep both those guys? The answer is very much yes if your quarterback makes nothing.
Right.
Even if he's the number one overall pick, which they're not going to have. Those guys are still making like $9 or $10 million compared to, $40 million for a Daniel Jones. Another thing, too, you kind of brought this up, Judd, but the profile of the quarterback that they're in, I'm sure there's different. Like, obviously, if they could get a 6'4" athletic freak like a Drake May, awesome, with a big arm. But the willingness to maybe trade all the way up for a barely 6 foot quarterback who's mobile, it kind of opens, because there was some thought that maybe like the Colts like big bodied quarterbacks, for instance, and there's all these different prototypes. If the Vikings are willing to draft smaller quarterbacks that are mobile, Jaron Hall's not a big guy, or he's like 6 feet tall, 6'1", and they seem to love him. Maybe not as much as like a first round quarterback, but it kind of opens up the window of, so just because Kevin O'Connell is tall and has worked with taller quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford, etc., doesn't mean that he's not willing to go take a Russell Wilson prototype or a Bryce Young prototype, right?
Yes. And I think it's I think we fall in love with what the scouts tell us, right? Like, you need a big quarterback. He's got to be tall. And the reality is, it comes down to this. How does the guy play? And by that, I mean, does he play big? Does he have an ability? Because, like, the most important thing is your sense, right? Your sense, your timing, pocket presence, when to move, when not to move. And I think there's far more that goes into the actual scouting of this position than like we think, because we're used to the prototypes. Okay, this is the prototypical thing and this works. Well, it doesn't work all of the time, but more importantly, what can the coach work with? And that's why the key here is that you have a coach who is a quarterback guy. Like, that's the thing about this, is if you don't have a coach who is a quarterback guy, you are, and it's just become clear, you are risking putting yourself in a position where you are not going to develop that player as best that you can. And when you find him, do you know exactly what you are looking at, or are you perceiving, his combine work or his film work? Are you perceiving that that's just him? Well, if I'm O'Connell, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I can develop him. I can help him out, and he's already good. So, like, there's just so many variables as far as what the Vikings are going to do that we have not been exposed to, probably quarterback-wise, since Denny, right?
Yeah, yes. It's I love that they took a swing at Jaron Hall. I love that they were thinking about taking a big swing into the top three. And it's so hard to project out to 2024 because, like, if Kirk goes crazy again and gets MVP votes or something, like, you're entertaining. Maybe you say, all right, well, God, maybe we won 12 games again, and God, he's healthy. All right, let's keep the Kirk train. The Kirk train is an option beyond
Absolutely.
2023.
Not closing the door.
Jaron Hall knocking the socks off people behind the scenes is an option beyond 2023. I the only option I don't want them to get themselves into is the cross your fingers and hope that someone falls option. I think you have to have a plan to go get your guy.
I don't think that's their style. I really don't. Like, with how they approach things in sort of a calculated, mathematical way, I don't think their style is to hope.
And they both talk about being aggressive and play calling, being aggressive and trading in the draft and whatnot. So it just don't be passive and like, oh my God, let's hope that a quarterback falls. I guess, Will Levis is falling, so therefore we have to draft him. If you don't like if you weren't willing to trade up for Will Levis, don't then draft him with your only pick in the top 86 picks. And so I'm glad.
What I thought. Yeah, exactly.
You know what? When it comes to quarterback uncertainty, there's a lot of not. When it comes to nutrition uncertainty, Athletic Greens AG1 can help you, just like it's been helping me for the better part of 6 years. So AG1 is like nutritional insurance to start your day. You wake up, or you can do it in the afternoon if you want to. Just mix 1 scoop with a bottle of water, and you've got your full allotment of nutrients for the day. 75 high-quality ingredients that give me important daily nutrients. Brain fog, for me, my own personal experience, brain fog lifted, energy levels heightened, helps with my gut health, and I generally just feel dialed in when I am drinking a big glass of AG1. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/purpledaily. athleticgreens.com/purpledaily. Also, a shout out to our friends at Dennis Kirk. It is riding season. The weather is turning finally. You'll find what you need at DennisKirk.com so you can ride more and wait less. Over 180,000 parts and accessories in stock for motorcycle riders. Clothing and helmets as well. Shipping is free for orders over $89. If you order by 8 p.m., they ship the same day. Everything you need for your ride at DennisKirk.com. We're getting some schedule spoilers trickling out, gentlemen.
Isn't it great?
You already listed one of them. There's the one of the 3 Christmas games. Yep. Sorry, NBA. It's been a good run for you on Christmas.
It really was great. Those 5 games were fantastic, but move out of the way. Yeah. Very cute.
Eagles and Giants on Christmas Day. All of the like Germany and England games have been put out. The Jaguars are playing back-to-back weeks in London at one point, I believe.
That's fine.
Yeah, this is a test. This is a test. For now, this is only a test.
Let's put them out there for back-to-back weeks. Now, what if they stay out there for like a month? What about
what
a
if you
season?
Just play your whole season out there. Hey, Jaguars fans, enjoy your team in London.
We have the first ever Black Friday NFL game on the schedule. Jets versus Dolphins. A 3 p.m. start time on Black Friday.
Hey, college football. It's been fun for you, too. Move aside as well. I love
what used to be the big, it was Texas A&M, right? That used to be the big college football game. There's a couple of them, I guess.
Nebraska, right?
Yeah, Nebraska.
I feel like Nebraska has always played a home game or did play a home game. I think the Gophers, weren't the Gophers supposed to play a Black Friday game at home during the pandemic or before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit, and I think they called it off.
Wisconsin? Would they play Wisconsin that week? Or
Iowa? It was something like that. They were, I think it was Iowa, but they definitely were going to play one. But anyway, you know what? College football, it's been fun. You're so cute. But move aside.
Oh, the NBA, just your little shorts and dribbling and all that
you
stuff.
Got you guys got your basketball.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if there's been any others. I love how the NFL can't help itself, man. They just let's trickle a couple games here. Here's another one. Let's see here. New Year's Eve. This is Sunday, December 31st on CBS, 3:25 Central Time. Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes, Week 17. Second to last week of the season.
It's on.
That also tells you the NFL is not totally married to division games in Week 17.
Yeah, it's true.
This is not a division game.
Good point.
So Mahomes, Burrow, very interesting. I think those are the only ones so far, the only spoilers so far. Until we get the NFL schedule leaks Twitter account fires back up and tricks everyone.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, ESPN announced that they're going to have a leak on or an announcement on tomorrow afternoon on one of the Monday night games or something like that as well.
Okay. Tomorrow afternoon, so like
during their show. So like it looks like each network gets to announce a game, right? Like, okay, you can announce your Christmas Day game, or you can announce this or that, and I mean, it's
like fine. The one you get to open one present on Christmas Eve, but it's not the big one. It's just you get the middle intermediate present one.
Hey, Johnny, what's that in the closet? Oh, Dad, thanks so much. Oh, look.
No, it's a pair of socks.
It's a cardigan. Yeah. That's great. Oh, it's a robe. It's
the Thursday night opener on NBC.
Yes. Tomorrow night, we go live at 7 o'clock Central Time tomorrow night. I don't know if we've decided that, but that makes sense, right? The schedule comes out at 7 o'clock, so we'll go live on the Purple Daily channel at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. I don't think it's like the NCAA tournament where they like release it once every segment. All of the schedules just come out at 7 o'clock, right?
Correct. They all just hit the team sites So we will have the Viking schedule, and then we can pick it.
Yes, we will. Are we going to pick it? We're going to pick it tomorrow night, right? And then we can react to some
That's
of the
up to you
bigger
guys.
themes on Friday.
That's
I
up
think
to
we
you guys.
pick it tomorrow night.
Yeah.
You-
We do a live pick, and
it.
then we'll do an additional one on Friday, I would assume.
Oh, pick it again on Friday?
No. Well, we could if we wanted to. I
And
would
then
just
again
say
on
more.
Saturday?
And then again on Saturday. Then I'm going to get my vent line guests on Sunday. They're going to pick it with me. It's going to be a whole thing.
Coming up now, here's the schedule. You know what?
Picking the schedule now. Picking schedule.
I am inexplicably excited about this.
Inexplicably, dude, this is one of the best days of the off season.
I am really excited about
What's hilarious is I love the pushback. Like, oh, yeah. What's the big deal? You already know who the opponents are. What's the big deal? You just get to find out in what order they play those teams in. Yeah.
And
That's all the fun.
and the holidays in which you get to actually watch football, consume games.
Yeah,
Don't
you
have
wanna
to
be
worry
able to
about
plan-
family.
You want to play the bye week too, so Declan can golf and Judd can get mad at him. Like
Yeah.
we want to be able to plan.
Yeah. When can I take my time off? Yeah, that's
wonder
like
if
one of my
Declan-
favorite things.
The gals want to know too. Can we
Yeah.
get to a
Oh my
cabin
God,
for a
yeah.
weekend
That's what I
or
was-
something? Like what can
That's
we?
what I was going to say.
When
Yeah,
can we
plan your
come up
vacations.
for air?
She wants to know the Chiefs game because she wants to go to the Chiefs game really badly as a fan. So that's why she keeps
luck to her
like,
on that
have you
one.
heard anything? What's the latest scuttlebutt? It's like I don't know. I don't know any much more. And so when you see it, and you scream and you'll announce it. We'll go from there. It'll be fine.
I hope she's saving her dough because that's going to be an expensive ticket, especially after Tay in Nashville.
What's the
weekend.
current? How many? Yeah, some big travel.
The gal is spending some
the Dex
serious
family.
cash.
Oh, well,
Dex. You better be careful.
I have a sugar mom. That's nice. I like it.
What are we at in terms
Come on,
of
man.
like when they release? Do they do single season or single tickets? Right? How many season ticket?
Yeah.
I guess seats are already taken at US Bank Stadium because there's a wait list for season tickets. I'm pretty sure.
And I don't know if like when they release the schedule tomorrow, if like immediately single game tickets go on
They're
sale.
not.
I think there's a window of
July.
when that actually happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not like it'll happen right away, but at least you can start planning. You know.
Yeah, I think single game tickets go on sale after July, and that Chiefs game screams secondary market.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be very hard to get.
Because that's the
Tickets
Chiefs
that game.
fans. It's a really easy drive. Just drive up.
Yeah.
10 hours or whatever. They probably travel well for that game. Maybe it'll be a Sunday night game.
Here's
The
a
two
I'm banking
stars
on
of Netflix's docuseries facing off head to head. Let's go.
Still tried to roll in there. Didn't work out.
Oh, that's what that was.
I got
was
stuck
like,
on
why
a-
do you have a weird smile on your
I got
face?
stuck on a cord.
It
very
happens
disappointing.
to Collinsworth once in a while too. So anyhow, there you go. There's your dose of reckless speculation from Tom Pelissero. Our friends at Federated Insurance, by the way, are like a great offensive line for your business. Federated Insurance, and they've been a great partner of ours here for we're about 4 years old now at Score North, 4.5 years old. And they've been with us every step of the way. They offer a great guiding hand, especially for next generation business owners too. If you're taking over the family business, or maybe you are a young and fast riser in a company or business leader, Federated can help your business. Federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. The second chunk of Purple Daily today includes a brief accountability session and some predictions that I'm guessing are going to be very schedule heavy. We also have the XFL championship game this coming weekend, XFL Bowl or whatever they call it.
More power to you guys.
Let's go. See you guys.